friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. Over the years, I've tried just about every kitchen system out there and set of recommended habits, and some of them left me feeling like a total failure, but a handful have completely changed how I run my kitchen. Those are the ones I want to share with you. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 habits that keep everything functioning without me burning out. The fourth one is probably the most controversial. I can already picture the comments. I almost cut it from this video, but it's the reason that I haven't panicked over a power outage in years. And wait until you see my meal prep system. Now, this isn't your typical Sunday meal prep sessions where you cook 27 chicken breasts and portion them into identical containers. No, this is a system that I step into just once every 3 months. Now, most meal prep gurus say you need to meal prep weekly to remain consistent, but I only do it 4 times a year, and it works better than anything else I've tried. My kitchen runs smoother and my grocery budget is lower than when I was constantly scrambling and following all the quote-unquote right advice. I'm going to lay it all out there in this video and show you the systems that stick even when life gets messy. Okay, my type A personality is geeking out all over this talk about systems and habits. I'm genuinely excited about it, so let's just get started. So habit number 1 is what I call the quarterly pantry power session. Okay, this one might sound intense, but hear me out. Once every 3 months, so 4 times a year, I sit down and refill all of my homemade pantry mixes, side dishes in jars, and canned meals. We're talking about ranch dressing mix and taco seasoning, dinner rolls in jars, all-purpose baking mixes, and complete meals in jars that I pressure can and put on a shelf, and so much more. One of the reasons why this works on a once quarterly basis is because I'm not using all of these things every single day. So for instance, a meal in a jar might get pulled out once every 2 weeks because my planned dinner completely fell through and I need a backup that's better than cereal. So the beauty of this system is that 3 months is roughly how long everything lasts. So I'm never doing this more than I need to. It's just one big weekend every quarter and I'm set. And the vast majority of the recipes that I use to meal prep all of my homemade pantry staples and all of my meals in jars are contained inside of these 2 cookbooks. I mean, really, you pair these 2 cookbooks together and you're set. The links to these will be in the description box or comment cookbooks, and I'll send the link to you that way. Okay, habit number 2 is what I call the meal planning stack. This is where habit stacking really shines. If you've never heard of habit stacking, it's basically when you attach a new habit to an existing one that you've already developed. Like, after I pour my coffee, I'll take my vitamins. The existing habit becomes the anchor or the trigger for the new one. So here's my stack. Once a month on a Sunday, I meal plan. This takes me about 1 to 2 hours. Now, if you're wondering how in the world do I plan a whole month's worth of meals in that time frame, check out the Meal Planner Starter Kit linked in the description box. Now, the first habit stacked on top of this meal planning session is that I also do a complete household inventory during this meal planning session. Our grocery budget actually covers not just food, but things like toiletries, paper products, cleaning supplies, that sort of thing. So while I'm building my once monthly grocery list, I'm checking what we need all throughout the house and conducting an inventory at the same time, which helps me really stay on top of what's inside my house and what I need. As for the third habit, I realized over the years of meal planning once monthly that my fridge gets pretty bare at the end of a monthly cycle right before our big grocery shopping day. And it presents the perfect opportunity to do a deep clean and scrub the shelves and tidy up anything that just got out of whack throughout the month. So I've stacked this refrigerator deep clean on top of my monthly meal planning session. So those are 3 major tasks, all linked together in a way that feels seamless for me. I never forget to do any of these things because they're all connected. It's like a productivity domino effect, if you will, and it truly keeps my kitchen running smoothly. This one is just hands down probably the most impactful thing that I do for my kitchen. Okay, habit number 3, I prep and keep pizza dough in the freezer at all times. This one's simple, but it has saved us so much money. I make pizza dough in batches of 8 and then freeze them. It takes the same amount of effort to pull out my flour and yeast and olive oil and supplies, whether I'm making 1 crust or 8. So why not do it all at once and set myself up for 2 months? The recipe I use is a pretty basic one, but it is good. It is 14 cups of flour, 6 cups of warm water, 3 tablespoons instant yeast, a quarter cup of sugar, 4 teaspoons of salt, and half a cup of olive oil. I mix it all up, knead it until it's nice and soft, and then divide it into 4 portions, with each one containing enough dough to make 2 pizzas. So that's where we get 8 pizza crust. That's how many my family eats on pizza night, which is 2, which is why I only divide it up into 4 dough balls. Now, before I freeze them, I coat each one in some olive oil. This keeps them from getting hard and crusty in the freezer. I also put a little olive oil straight inside the freezer bag. This way, when I pull it out 1 to 2 months later, it's still in great shape and slides right out. And I don't let them rise before freezing. They go straight into the freezer, because when it's pizza night, I either pull a bag out of the fridge the night, or out of the freezer the night before and stick it in the fridge, or I grab it in the morning and leave it on the countertop. And by dinner time, when it's time for me to start prepping, like around 5 p.m., it is fully thawed, not only fully thawed, but now risen enough to go ahead and roll out and top. And that's it. One afternoon of work every couple months, and I can whip up homemade pizza instead of spending $30 on delivery. It's one of those small things that can really add up big over time. Okay, system or habit number 4 is bulk meat processing. Now, this one might not apply to everyone, but I think the principle does. When we get a deer, usually late fall, early winter, I try to process the entire thing in one weekend. Same thing with our meat rabbits, and this is where the controversial stuff comes in, but it works for us. We raised our meat rabbits, and when it's time, I knock out the entire herd. Is that what rabbits are called? Herds? I knock it out all in one weekend. The goal is to get that meat into jars in shelf-stable format as fast as possible, because I do not want to be dependent on freezers. Freezers fail. Power goes out, especially where we live. But not only that, I know myself. And if I just shove the meat into the freezer thinking I'll get to it when I have time, lo and behold, I will never have time. And it will sit there and get freezer burn, or I'll be left scrambling if the power goes out. I do the same thing with chicken whenever I find a huge sale on leg quarters or whole birds. I'll process a huge batch, get it all canned, and then follow that up with a massive pot of chicken broth left over from the bones. Because we cook with broth constantly, I want to keep my broth shelves fully stocked. So this whole processing in bulk is really important for keeping my pantry stocked. It's kind of exhausting on that one weekend when I'm getting it all done, but then I don't have to think about it for months, and that's the trade-off. For me, it's worth it because it gives me shelves upon shelves of shelf-stable meat that's already cooked and ready to throw into a recipe. That is like a drum that I beat with a passion, that people don't realize that canning, even things like dehydrating and freeze drying, it is a form of meal prep. That meat has already been processed, it has already cooked, and I can make a quick and easy dinner in 30 minutes or less. So this habit is really key to keeping my kitchen life running smoothly and helping me not feel like I'm constantly tied to the kitchen. Okay, habit number 5 is just a one-touch kitchen cleanup. This is the habit that keeps everything else from falling apart. So after cooking, everything, and I mean everything, gets put away during cleanup. Not later, not tomorrow, right then, because again, I know myself and I will procrastinate. So ingredients go back into the pantry, tools get washed and put away, counters get wiped down, and the kitchen is always ready for the next meal, oftentimes before I even sit down to enjoy that meal. Now also, first thing every morning is I empty the dishwasher. This means that throughout the day, dirty dishes can go straight in after a quick rinse, which cuts down on how often dishes pile up in the sink. And before bed every night, I finish loading up anything that's lingering so that I go to bed with an empty sink. That is a non-negotiable for me. I do so much cooking and meal prep and canning that if I wake up to a full sink, I already feel behind. So starting with a clean slate makes everything else possible. So there you have it. That's really it, y'all. 5 systems that keep my kitchen running without me feeling like a slave to it. The quarterly prep, the monthly planning stack, frozen pizza dough, bulk meal processing, and one-touch cleanup roll. They're not glamorous, but they work and I can stick to them consistently, and that's what matters. If you want a few quick tips for meal planning, check out the video that just popped up on your screen. I give you a little sneak peek into my theme nights, which is really important. Okay, that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.